Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, my entitled sister and brother-in-law wanted me to sacrifice my youth for my nephews. I'm 25 with children, single mom, and ready to move away from my home state, but my mother says no. Why don't I ever meet any of your friends? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My entitled sister and brother-in-law wanted me to sacrifice my youth for my nephews. This happened in my early 20s when I was still a college student. I stayed at my sister/brother-in-law's house for a while. They have 3 kids. Back then their eldest 2 were under 3. I did a fair bit with them, played toys with them, watched shows, read to them. But I was also a typical college kid who occasionally wanted to party and go out with friends. My sister and brother-in-law hated this and would shame me. They wanted me to go to college and come back home as soon as my classes finished. I wasn't even near the most wild college kid. It might be once a fortnight I would go to a party. Every time I would tell them I was going to be out, it was, "But what about your family? You need to be closer to your family. Your friends won't be forever. You should be spending time with your nephews." I was honestly treated like some deadbeat parent for wanting to enjoy my youth. My aunt used this on me, once trying to get me to watch her kids yet again. My reply shut her up for a while anyway. I am thinking of the family I'd like to start, but I can't go on dates or meet people if I'm always at your house watching your kids. I wish I had $1 for every time I read, "But what about your family?" on Reddit. Family sucks a lot of the time. My friends have been there for me way more often than my family. What about my family? My family has 2 children. They should take care of their family and knock off the guilt trips. I'm 25 with children, single mom, and ready to move away from my home state, but my mother says no. Hello guys. Looking for some advice here. I am currently fed up with living in my home state. Everyone I know isn't doing too well. My children always complain about their schools and the lack of education that they provide, and I just don't feel like my success will ever begin in my hometown. I feel like moving out of town will be the best option for my children and I. Their father is completely MIA, then pops up when he wants to. We don't hear from him for months, sometimes years before he decides he wants to see the children. When he do get the children, he never wants to give them back. They miss a lot of days of school because he don't feel as if school for them is important. Besides all that, my mom has been living with me for the past year now. Despite the fact I left my previous home and left it for her to have. I even gave her a car and paid up the rent for quite some time. I feel like I'm taking care of her plus the children, and it's becoming mentally draining. I try to get her to look for her own place and try to do her own thing, but it goes in one ear and out the other. She barely watches my children. I have to contribute to her little fees. I was going to just jump up and move, but would that be wrong? I already told her, and she's trying to convince me to move somewhere closer by her job or back to where we were before. I just don't want to. Edited. To answer some concerns, you guys are overthinking my situation. All this occurred over a few years. The rent situation was more so during COVID, where I only had to pay $400 and my Indian tribe, plus the state giving assistance at the time made up for the rest, which resulted in a year's worth of rent. I gave her a vehicle that took 3 years to pay off, and I saved up money for my deposits and first month's rent when I move. I am a certified phlebotomist, I own a local food company, and I clean on the side. I'm very careful with the way I spend my money, so I don't see how this couldn't be true. Having children doesn't stop you from becoming successful. When you're a single mom, you learn a lot of things along the way. Also, I am an only child. My father died when I was younger, and our family is the MIA type. My children's dad was a little physically at times when we were together. DHS got involved and granted me sole custody once I got away from him. I hope that answered some of your concerns. You don't need your mom's permission to move. Mom, I'm moving with the kids. You have 2 months to figure out your living situation. That said, you need to consult an attorney before you move your children, even though their deadbeat dad is mostly MIA. Thank you, Ms. Jin. Even if we don't have a custody agreement in place? Time to go. Start moving important stuff to a storage unit or friend's garage. Clothes, collectibles, whatever. That way, when you're ready, your stuff is safe and ready to go. Don't give anyone a heads up. Just disappear. I've done it. It worked out well for me. Good luck. You know the answer is that your mother has no control over you. All she can be is noise and fury signifying nothing. Tell your mom you're moving. She needs to make other arrangements. Do not tell her where you are moving, or she'll try to tag along. As for the baby daddy, if there is no actual custody, there is nothing to hold you back there. Move now before you do. Don't talk to him about moving because he seems the type to go to court to prevent you from moving just to be spiteful. Why don't I ever meet any of your friends? Mother, why don't I ever meet any of your friends? Me, because the last time you met two, you falsely accused them of being in a green card marriage. What? I never said that. I would never say something like that. Well, I remember it, and they both remember it. Really? I said that? I don't remember that. Okay, fine. I made one politically incorrect comment. So what? They can't hold it against me forever. It's not my fault they remember it. It's your fault you said it. What? What did I say? You falsely accused them of committing a crime the first time you met them. You always told me that first impressions matter. So what? It's your decision to remember it and use it against me. They could choose to forget if they wanted to. My father concurred. If you want to remember it, that's your decision. That's your fault. Some of you might say this isn't a big deal, and if my mother apologized to my friends, they'd very likely forgive her. But my mother hasn't and won't apologize. My mother believes she's the victim here, and that my friends are the offenders because they remember that she falsely accused them of committing a crime. It's not my mother's fault for falsely accusing my friends of committing a crime. It's my friend's fault for remembering that my mother falsely accused them of committing a crime. My mother hasn't even acknowledged that her accusation was false. My friends aren't even married, and they were both born in the US. Because you are rude and I would like them to want to stay my friends. She isn't entitled to meet your friends, especially as it sounds like you are an adult. She can make her own friends. She isn't your friend. She is your mom. Oh yeah, she's definitely not my friend. I wouldn't befriend someone with this kind of personality. This reminds me of my mother. She acts offended if anyone tries to bring up that she hurt their feelings, as though the act of bringing it up again after the fact is what creates the problem. Makes it absolutely impossible to do any relationship work at all because she refuses to reflect or revisit anything. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.